Welcome back to Journey Story, the only podcast where the interviews are reimagined into illustrations. Now, we're on Season 5, Episode 7. We have Mark Kowalchuk. He is an amazing illustrator. Our styles are a little bit different, but it's so good to look at someone else's work and be inspired by it. And also with someone who has had so much success. He has worked with so many skate brands, so many snowboard brands. He has worked with shoe brands, and also he's got to design posters or redesign posters for one of his favorite bands. Just this little one, maybe you've heard of him, fucking Metallica, okay? And he is a pretty humble dude. So he grew up in Canada, lives in his hometown, loves that. We talk about how he got into illustrating for all these companies living so far away in Calgary compared to like where I thought he lived in LA. One thing that we touch on that's really important, especially if you're a freelancer or if you're a creative or you just want to get in this world, is how to charge for your artwork. And he had some really good insights for that, and that really sort of helped me. Now with his illustration, I really just loved his name, so I nailed that on the head of just like, we're doing this koala piece. And then I threw in, I really like the movement of the ink and the kick flipping pen and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's jump into it. Boosh!
Good upgrade.
Yeah. How you been?
Good.
Good?
Good.
You're in Calgary?
Yes, I am.
I totally thought you were like some hot spot in like skating and surfing, like you were down in LA or something like that, like in the outskirts. Snowboarding Mammoth in the day.
Most people think that just because I do so many California brands and No, I'm Canadian. I've had a few opportunities to relocate and live in California, but I like it up here. I'm born and raised in Canada, and this is my home. So.
Yep, that's pretty awesome. Does Calgary get super cold in the winter? Like,
I guess it depends on your perspective. I would say it's pretty normal, but I think you might find it cold.
Well, considering when I first moved to America, I thought that continuum of 40 degrees is cold, and I was like in 3 layers. Like I would wear a shirt, like one of those thermals, then I'd wear a jumper over the top, a shirt over the top, a jumper over that, and then a jacket, and I was still bloody cold, and I was like, this is ridiculous, I can't make this.
Don't come.
But then you get used to it, and like you throw a hoodie on.
I
can't imagine getting used to like minus 30 degrees or whatever you guys get up there.
Yeah, we don't have like a ton of those days. Like the thing that's cool about Calgary is that we're like known for having the most sun in Canada. Like,
oh, that's cool.
We got like 360 days of sun or some statistic like that. Yeah, it's blue skies here in the winter all the time.
Oh my gosh.
And we do get these things called Chinooks. So basically, it's a
Did you
warm.
Just swear at me?
What?
Did you just swear at me?
No, I said we get these things called.
I know, I was being a
Chinooks. Yeah. And it's just like a warm wind front that moves in. So you'll have like, say it's minus 20 or whatever, and then all of a sudden the next weekend is plus 15 or whatever. And I'm talking Celsius, right?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I should have been talking in Celsius because I much prefer that. I don't know why America does everything backwards, but sure.
Yeah,
yes.
You and I are on the same page, but no one else is.
The only thing that makes sense to me is sometimes inches, only because I'm so used to skateboards. So it's always like baked in my head. So I know what 775 is, 7.5, 8.125. You know what I mean?
There's this Saturday Night Live skit with what's his name, Washington, like General Washington, or what's the president?
Right now?
No, like the Washington, like
George Washington.
George Washington. Sorry, thank you.
So Canadian, I love it.
Well, no, it's just I only have one coffee in me right now. But yeah, George Washington SNL skit, and they talk about how in the States, nothing lines up. Like we're gonna be the only one that uses this system of measure, and it's pretty funny. I should send it to you after.
Yeah, that's sick. I'll look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always been in Calgary? Like, have you moved around in Canada? Or have you
No, I'm actually born and raised in Ontario. My family still lives there. I grew up in a small town called Thunder Bay, which is a little isolated.
How good is that name?
Thunder Bay?
Yeah, like there's not many names you get like a. That sounds like something cool's happened there already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's called Thunder Bay because it's on the tip of Lake Superior, and it's like, surrounded by water on the one front, and then surrounded by mountains all around it. So when we get a storm, it thunders and like echoes and stuff.
Oh God,
yeah.
That I love. One of the things I miss about Australia is the lightning storms, and I know you could get them different places here in America, but where we are in Seattle, very few and far between in lightning storms.
See, I wasn't exactly sure where you were based out of, so I didn't know that you're in Seattle till right now. Because just, we deal with each other on a purely internet, social media base all the time. Yeah.
That's how you connect with the coolest people, I hear. Like, just straight digital.
Life was pretty boring before social media. Nobody knew anybody.
Yeah, exactly. It was so localized, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You knew the guy down the street, and that was about it.
Yeah, exactly. The coolest guys lived in the main city just near you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel you. Do you want to jump into it?
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, two things. One, how do you say your last name?
It's very how you write it. So it's like if you had a koala bear and a woodchuck, Kowalchuk.
I've been saying Kowalchuk the whole time, and I was like, I must be saying it wrong.
Well, see, that's the thing. People always put an extra A in the middle, so they say Kowalchuk, but it's just Kowalchuk.
Kowalchuk.
Yeah.
Okay. That might be the coolest name ever, especially coming from Australia. I think I would just let people throw... Yeah.
Well, just because of the koala bear thing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my spirit animal.
Yeah. Us Australians we love our animals like that, you know what I mean? So koalas, kangaroos, stuff like that. We understand how cool it is to see it, you know what I mean? I feel like when, even possums, but we have different possums than what the Pacific Northwest and I don't know if you guys have the opossums, but
I've never seen one. But
so whenever I say possum here, there's these opossums that kind of look like a giant rat.
Yeah.
Apparently, really, really good to have around your house and stuff. But in Australia, we got these cute little fluffy things, and in Australians, we'll be like, "Oh my gosh, there's a possum there!" Like, "Oh, that's cute!" We love it.
You know what? It's so funny that you mentioned this. Actually, I have seen a possum. I just saw one last month because I was just out in Ontario. We don't have them here in Calgary, but they do exist out in southern Ontario. And I was just in southern Ontario, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And it was a dead possum on the road. So,
dang it.
Yeah.
I always feel so bad for any animal that's just on the road. You know what I mean? I see raccoons because I love
don't go there.
Raccoons.
There was more than one all over the place. They seem to be getting hit by cars out there. But
yeah, it's a bummer. But the little trash pandas, the raccoons, they just seem so mischievous when they're walking along.
We got lots of those.
Do ya?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love them.
Those are like our wild cats out here. You know? There's raccoons everywhere.
Sitting at your coffee shop, you're like, "Oh man, I can't find a spot. There's all these raccoons here."
Yeah, that's not far off.
All right. Here we are, joining your story with Mark, and we're going to jump into 10 questions and see what illustration sort of comes out of this.
Sure.
Cybertruck, yay or nay?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah. Oh. Why not? I was just down in California and we drove behind one. And I was with Tony Magnuson. We were driving behind a Cybertruck and he was telling me all about it. Huh?
Already name dropping. We're like one sentence in. That's awesome.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen one here.
Oh, no, I meant like Tony Magnuson.
No, I know, but like he had to explain to me what the whole Cybertruck was about because I had no idea what the deal was. So I feel like I had to give him credit because he had to tell me all about it.
Nah, I'm loving it. I just had a cat on Jeff, and he was name dropping all these. Not in name dropping way, like just in conversation, but just chatting about like the skate world, and then my inner skate child goes, "Holy shit, you got to chat with that person," you know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna throw Tony under the bus on this one because he told me, and I don't know if this is fact or not, but he said that there's a feature in the Cybertruck where the front seats can turn around and look at the back seats. So you can have because it's self-driving or something? Or maybe they're working on this. I don't know.
No.
He could be lying to me. I don't know.
He's trying to fuck with you.
Maybe.
No, I have a Tesla and I've like checked out the Cybertruck in there. There's no feature where it turns around. But
maybe
I think,
he's saying that they're working on that or something.
I think maybe in the future there might be stuff. There is ones where they have the robo-taxis they're putting out there right now. And so they're meant to be fully driverless. They don't even have a steering wheel or anything. Mm-hmm. And
he also told me that the panels are square on the Cybertruck because the material is like bulletproof, and so they can't bend that material, and so the only way to keep that material with its strength that it has is to make it in squares. So I don't know if that's true or not.
That very well could be. I know they had a lot of manufacturing issues of like when you bend metal and it sort of like wants to like find its spot. So to do that accurately for every single bit of metal, they had to figure out ways to that. I don't know. I personally, from a creative standpoint, I like something when it's different, and so I love seeing that out. Like there's like 5 or 6 around where I live. Mind you, Seattle's got the school I go to, which is a public school. My kids go to, not me. There's a Ferrari that drops off one of their kids. Like that's the level of like income that's around here. And so when you see like when Teslas first came out, there was like a ton of them sort of around. Now Teslas are like the Prius. There's a bunch of them around here. And then you have so you get to see all that stuff around. So, but I like the look of them. I think I like the difference of them. But if there was like 100 of them around, or like so many, I probably would get bored of it. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know why I kind of like the look of it? I like Super Nintendo a lot. It reminds me of Star Fox. Remember Star Fox?
Oh,
everything was super geometric.
So I used to work at Nintendo.
Okay.
And one of my close friends there, Jeremy, loves Star Fox, and so this is how I always say that I had someone else's dream job there, because he was like, hey, look at Star Fox, it's coming out with a new game or new thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, just thought it was a new game coming out. And he was like, oh no, this is like, start telling me all the back history of it and everything like that. And I was like, yep, I'm literally sitting in someone else's dream job, because I had no idea.
Well, that game was like revolutionary at the time. Like it's totally brutal by today's standards, but but at the time they hadn't done that sort of like processors and emulators couldn't push out those sort of 3D graphics like that. So
I
had
no idea.
I watched a documentary on it, and they actually I'm really making myself sound like a total loser right now, but they
not at all.
They actually had to reverse engineer that game and like put an extra emulator into the game to even be able to pump out that sort of graphics to work with the system, because the system couldn't really do that. So they actually had to put more stuff into the actual physical game to make it work. So
is it that sort of engineering blows my mind. Also, then I think of us having our phones here and going like, oh, we play these high graphic things in our handheld devices. It seems futuristic if I look back at myself when I was 5 and I had do you guys in Canada say Sega or Sega?
Sega.
Oh, we say Sega in Australia.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're backwards convicts. But I remember that, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever." Now that I could probably do all that on my phone, it blows my mind.
Funny that you said that because it was my birthday like a week ago, and
happy birthday!
Oh yeah, thanks. And my buddy just mailed me like last night. I just got it. It's like a Super Nintendo cartridge, but it's got 200 games on the one cartridge.
Oh yeah.
Like before, it would be like they fit 200 games on one cartridge, and it's like.
The fact I have in my camera right now, I think I have an SD drive that has 1 terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this big,
Yeah.
That is incredible.
We've come a long way, but if you think about where we thought we would be, we had all these futuristic
the hoverboards,
movies.
huh?
Yeah, exactly. You knew where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm glad there's no flying cars because I think there's too many idiots that can hardly drive on one plane.
Oh, they're working on them. I actually saw some post about them the other day, and there was some other hover. It was weird. It was a hover helicopter that a single person could take to work, and you don't. They were advertising coming out soon, but you don't need a license to drive it, which was just total bullshit because you need a license to fly a drone in the city. You know what I mean? You have to have the proper paperwork to fly a drone. So you obviously need to fly a personal helicopter. You're going to need some sort of...
I just can't imagine people how many crashes, how many there'd just be so many dumb things that go on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have them there, but we have all these little scooters you can rent, the powered scooters, and people do that, and people always rent those things when they're drunk. And I don't even know what kind of insurance that company needs to have because
I think a couple of them went under because the insurance was too bad because people. Totally. I think now when you sign it, there's a waiver.
Yeah.
You more your personal injury if you crash this.
Yeah, I mean, I work in the industry where I know how those waivers work, and they don't really protect anybody.
Really?
Oh yeah, good lawyers can get around those waivers pretty easily.
No, crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know this about myself, but I kind of wear many hats in the art design world, and so not only do I do art for, skateboarding, snowboarding, music, but I also have a corporate-y design job where I do all the design work for a lot of the major ski resorts in the Rockies. So I'll do all their trail maps and posters and all that stuff. I mean, as an artist, you have to, pay the bills. How you pay the bills?
It is. Well, it's funny because that is the next question, so we'll dig into that more. But the point I wanted to make is, I get so frustrated because, especially the older you get, you realize how much people take art, design, creativity for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everything that they have chosen to walk on, even a curb, whether it's a t-shirt print, the fabric, the shape, the sign, the chair that they sit on, someone's had some sort of design impact or creativeness to it, but yet people are I'm not willing to sort of pay for that, or I'm not that's not worth that much to me, but I'll go over and buy this thing that's obviously someone else has some sort of design in it, but they will value that higher than they would the actual creativeness.
Right.
But anyway, so the next question was, what do you do to pay the bills? And so let's jump in a couple of those hats then.
Yeah. Which one would you like to talk about?
Well, let's go. I don't know if it's forward or backwards, but let's go your corporate job.
Yeah. That's pretty...
And then we'll go back down from that. So
yeah.
What do you do? So is that your main crux of
Yeah, so my day-to-day...
Are you 40 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, basically. Yeah, so basically I work for resorts in the Canadian Rockies, and I've been there for 20 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. and I do all their day-to-day, like anything that gets printed, any design work like that. And
Are you working in InDesign mainly?
all the Adobe products, so
Okay.
Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop,
Yep.
those standard ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's, anything that gets printed goes through me. I don't touch any web. We have another web designer that does that.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
So how does that feel? Because that, I feel like most time, so I was a web designer at Nintendo, and every place I've sort of worked with design, you always have to have, like if I was web design, I was always doing some print. You know what I mean? And people that were on the print side, they never did the web stuff that I could tell.
Well, I mean, I can do some web stuff. I just choose kind of not to, but if you think about it, my company owns like 4 major ski hills, a bunch of hotels, a bunch of properties. Yeah. We own a bunch of what else? 2 golf courses. So they're like, and I'm the only print designer. So with that alone, there's so much work in just that sort of aspect that there's no time to even do the other side as well.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like most places want, I guess the point I was trying to get to, and I got sidetracked, was most places want you to do everything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's why I was sort of surprised that you just got to stick on print.
I think there's a difference between working in agency life and working for a specific company that has a marketing department. You can be a little bit more specialized when you have a company that has a marketing department, because then you have your marketing head, you have your sales guy, you have your print guy, you have your web person, you have your IT, and everybody has their role to play. And because the day-to-day isn't changing. You know what I mean? Like I got the same task to do each year, and it's like, oh, this task is coming up because it's October. This task is coming up because it's November. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're like agency life. You're constantly like doing different things that need to be done because you're kind of like, okay, we have this client that needs this. You know what I mean?
Yep. So when I was working at Nintendo, I found that it was the same sort of thing. Like every, you'd hit these milestones through the year, and you're like, okay, we're doing this again, we're doing that again, we're doing this. My brain would get kind of bored and be like, okay, like, can we do something different with this? How can we like push this in a different way?
Well, my personal outlet is illustration.
Okay.
Like
so you.
Yeah, and my work knows that, and I've been with this company for 20 years because they support what I do, and if I have to take time off because I'm flying to do some art show in Seattle or whatever, they're totally cool, and they
awesome.
They know I get the work done, so they're pretty flexible with me and allow me to do what I need to do to stay emotionally sane and stay in my lane, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It's a balance, but it works.
Yeah. So when you're doing, let's say you're doing a 40-hour week,
what's
the next?
Is going already.
What's that?
I know where this is going already.
What?
How do you fit the art in around that?
Yeah. So this is the thing: is I find a lot of people ask me how, even when I was working full time on, like Nintendo, I still was like self-publishing children's books. I would have a different idea and I'd try and do it. But I was burning the candle at both ends there. Like I was working hard at Nintendo, but I'd also stay up until 1 o'clock to try and get all my stuff done.
Yeah, I kind of burn the candle, but I kind of operate that way, and I kind of like that way because I'm kind of like, I'm not really the type of person, I'm maybe a little OCD that way, and I'm not the type of person that just likes to do nothing. Yeah. So, like, for example, on my weekends, I, wake up, I go to the gym, then I, take my dog for a walk, and then I go skate for a couple hours, and then I come home and make dinner, and then I draw, and then, you know what I mean? Like, so I've got, this, regimented day. And so, it doesn't really change during the week. Like, I'll do my, work at my job during the day, and then I'll draw a bit at my lunch hour, and then I'll like go home and make dinner, and then I'll put some music on and I'll start drawing, and that's my day to day. It's just becomes my routine, and I enjoy that. Like
I feel the same sort of way. But I'm always trying to like squeeze in more and more drawing or creativity, like, and even do stuff where like I'm doing a series of paintings at the moment, and I have the new canvas out. I won't be able to do anything with it for like a couple of weeks, or maybe start of next week, but it's there, so my brain starts like ticking along, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and
I mean, that's kind of the art process. Like, if you get in the mood, you got to just go with it,
Yeah. I was gonna lead to is that because you were so regimented, do you find that you have to, like, there's times where you don't vibe what you're doing, or?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and how do you get out of that?
I just don't get upset about it. I mean, like, I just know that that's how art works, and if I have a night where, like, typically I'll in an evening of, say, 3 hours, I can get about 3 drawings done. Which is,
wow!
I'm pretty fast at what I do, man. I do it every day, so I can just pump it out.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's you're just having an off day and you're not feeling it, and so you just have to not get upset and know that there's always tomorrow, because tomorrow you might get 5 drawings done. You just that's just how it goes, and you just have to trust that. Okay, well, I didn't get 3 drawings done today. Well, there's tomorrow, and I just have to make sure that I'm trying again. I mean, people understand. Like if you can pump out 3 drawings in 3 hours, that's still faster than people think you're.
That's
you're working.
Super fast. Like,
maybe
I don't know the level of the drawings you're talking about, like the quality, the size, the detail, but even so, I spent an hour and a half sketching, kind of drawing like a pigeon and a rat hanging out last night. Don't know why, but that just popped in my head. And so I spent that, and it was just in sketch mode, but it still took me about an hour and a half. The sketch, the layout, the hatching, because I was just using a pen.
Yeah.
But for you to crank out 3 drawings in 3 hours, that's
quick. Keep in mind, like, when I say that, I'm not like I break up my nights into different stages, right?
Okay.
So, like, say Tuesday, I'm doing like I'll have like 6 different clients, and Tuesday is like rough concept night, and so like Tuesday I'm just doing bing, 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 and they're all just rough sketches. And then say Thursday I'm doing like production ink night. So out of those rough sketches, now I'm spending more time and actually like doing them in good. So I'm not like, what I'm doing is I'm streamlining things, so I'm not jumping around all the time. Like, I'm not like sketching this in a book and then moving over here and then inking something. I'm using my time to the best of its ability, where everything's in the sketchbook today, everything's on my bigger drawing table today, and so I'm actually like efficient with my time. Like, I'm not like. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh no, I fully do, and I think a lot of people could take like a page out of your book with that, because I think everyone thinks creativity has to be so, or like being an artist has to be so free flowing and being so. I just got to feel the moment in this, and sometimes you just need to be like, hey, this is my 2-hour block to sketch this out, or this is my. And so I do similar. I'm a little bit looser because I feel like my schedule's a little looser, but I would be. Like with this illustration that I'll do for you, I will be working on the content for the previous one, of like whether it's editing and that, and then at night I'll, like, while I'm sitting down with my wife, I'll start sketching out ideas that I've had.
You're gonna make me holding a koala bear?
Do you know what? I try not to go in with any ideas, but I could not get it out of like having you throw a koala. Like I was like I couldn't get it out of my head, so I hope I don't stick with that one, because I think it's too obvious. I try and like fine there. Sometimes I don't nail it. Sometimes I do. But
I'm not trying to tell you any ideas here, but I've always personally wanted to do a drawing for myself that was a koala bear and a woodchuck just like partying like best friends and having a good time.
I thought you were going to say fucking.
No, let's not do
and that's
that.
how you were born.
Let's not do that one. And my dad might be like, whoa.
Which one? Was your dad or your mum, the koala or the woodchuck?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have to think about that one a bit harder.
That's for a therapy session. Yeah,
that's a therapy session.
So we got your illustrations. The thing I want to step into now is you work in the snowboard and skateboard world. First of all, let's just how you got into that, into that world, and then we'll talk about some of the maybe people you've done stuff for and that.
Oh God. That's a laundry list. Okay.
I love it though. I think people want to just like, even if you want to crank them out after, and then
it's kind of like, maybe it's narcissistic, but I actually kind of kept a list.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love it because I think, especially the older you get, and you're like, I'll go back to my friends back in Western Australia, and someone will be like, "Hey, you did this back when you were younger," and I was like, "No, I didn't. There's no way I did that." And they're like, "No, you did." And then like other people say, "Yeah, you did that," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did that." Like, and I forget. Sometimes I wish I like wrote. I'm
pretty
stuff down.
like organized for an artist type. I'm actually like, I have all my like job lists on my phone, and I have like who I've done art for and who I have to invoice for and who I have to mail stuff to. So I kind of, because I have so much going on that I have to sort of, I know myself and I have to do that for myself.
So hang on, before we get into that, do you have kids?
I have a son, yes.
You have 7. A son. How old is your son?
7.
Your son's
he's an
7.
Artist, he's an artist himself, yes.
Wow. So's my daughter, 9. And I love it because we just like, you get to have these moments where you talk about stuff and no one really knows how you're talking about it, you know what I mean? It's like our own little world, and we get so jazzed on like, I'll be like, oh, look at that little line, look at this curve, like that is, you can tell the pen pressure in that, on that. I froth on it, but
I've got tons of his art all over this house. Like he's probably got more art up than I do.
Well, that's fair enough. It might be a little touch on the narcissistic side if you had it. I only put my stuff up on the wall.
Yeah, I actually don't have any of my artwork up on the wall. There's I don't know if you can see it in the wide frame or not, but there's a Taka painting up on the wall here.
Oh no, I can only see you in this part. When I'm zoomed out. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, he's a painter, artist. He's Japanese, but he lives in Vancouver. And that was a snowboard graphic, and we're buddies, and I was like, man, I like that graphic. Can you, because I love birds a lot. Birds are my thing. And I was like, can I have a print of that? And he sent me the original painting. So
no way. What a legend. Okay, so how did you get involved in... first of all, sorry. Let's go back. I found it very hard with having kids to be able to... Because I've got to take out so much time for them. The fact that you're able to stick on a regiment and have a child still blows my mind. Maybe my kids are just needier.
I think that the things have changed a bit. You know, my wife and I parted ways, so still on good terms.
Yep, so that's great to hear.
Yeah, so it does give me more opportunities here and there to have nights where I'm working a little bit longer and to myself. You know, it's a new landscape for me, but even when things were prior to this situation, you know, I still did the same sort of regiment. I just pushed the hours back because time with Jonas was, you know, precious. So he'd be in school and I'd be at work, and then I'd come home, and you know, those windows before he's in bed, it was just about him. And then once he was asleep, then I would draw. You know. Yeah,
that's the same that I would do as well, but it'd always be that window either stretches too much, like they don't go to sleep quite at the right time, and like but it's still impressive that you get so much done, is what I was trying to say with having a child.
Yeah, I mean, like it's also what I wanted. Like I'm doing jobs that like I want to do. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I love doing it, so it would just be like, oh hey, imagine somebody was like, hey, we skate at night, and this is our
Yeah.
schedule, and like if you want to skate, you got to skate at night. Well, you're not going to say no to that because you love skating. It's the same as drawing. Like I'm drawing really cool shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm working for stuff like Metallica and like stuff that I'm like fired up to actually get on paper. Like
Yeah.
so there's motivation there. Like there's a love for it that I want to do it. So it's not like, oh, I gotta draw tonight.
Yeah.
It's like cool. I get to work on this idea of like, I'm working on Ride the Lightning. Like what am I gonna do? And I put on the music Ride the Lightning, and I'm like in the zone, and I'm like, so it's fun. It's fun.
That's epic. I love hearing other people that get so stoked on it as well. 'Cause I think there's a lot of people that
like, why are you doing it really?
Yeah.
Like, I have a day job, salary job doing design. Like, it's not like I'm just buying like the Cybertruck here you were talking about. I don't need like I don't need 6+ figures to survive. So
yeah.
I'm doing it because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's not anything else.
I love it. So how'd you get involved in doing stuff for other brands outside your day job?
That kind of came organically, to be honest with you. I mean, I always skated and snowboarded, and I just, I used to have this art studio, and I used to just paint, and that was my outlet, and I didn't really do commercial illustration outside of my commercial day job. I kind of separated them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I had some friends that skated that wanted some graphics done, and I was like, like, how about this, And then it just kind of happened that way, where people were like, yeah, I like your art, I want to use it on this graphic. And then I was like, oh, I've got this, and then it just snowballed from there. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is kind of a thing, like, I guess it's needed, and I like doing it. I had a few opportunities that sort of, were like pivotal moments in that like sort of helped my career on its own. Like I started doing art for Snowboards, because I was at a party with DCP and Roman, and I showed them my art that I did for Trevor Andrew, and then they were like, okay, we want you doing art for Snowboards. So that kind of like, that was just like them seeing what I was doing, and they liked it, and they were like, you're in. Like I don't even think they asked me. I think they were like, you do art for Snowboards now, and I was like, oh okay. I'm like,
you're like, yeah, sure.
Should we discuss this more? I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, before we rattle off, and you don't have to talk specific numbers, or you can just say, I don't want to talk about that. But how do you charge someone for, like, let's say you're doing a snowboard?
This is the most asked question in art and design. No, I mean not by podcasts or whatever.
Oh no,
by like people that want to know.
Asking.
Yeah, people want to know, right?
Even other artists, I think, because like when you're first starting, you're like, well, I don't know what to charge, because I'm definitely not getting what I'm fully getting paid for, like your history of the skill set you have, the time you put in, and then...
Lucky for you, I have an answer for this question.
Love it. Let's go.
Okay, so this is what you got to do. You've got to really kind of know where you're at. That's just the hardest thing to do. You have to kind of understand which level you're at and what you're dealing with, because you have to sort of value yourself, which is the hardest part of any artist to do, to be like, okay... Like, for example, like say you want to get into snowboard design or whatever, like, okay, I don't have a portfolio in that yet. I'm kind of a junior designer in snowboard design. Or, hey, I've been doing art for many snowboard brands. I have a portfolio, I have a website, I have this experience. People are after me for what I do. So there's different tiers of it, right? And you have to be honest and realistic with yourself. And that's a hard thing to do, but... I think that what you need to do always is sort of set a benchmark for yourself as far as what you charge, and don't be willing to really go too far off that. You know what I mean? Like, so say somebody wants... I'm just throwing numbers out there, so this is not necessarily what I charge. I'm just giving advice. Say somebody hits you up and says, "Hey, we're grassroots company. We want a shirt design." Okay, you have to look at that company and say, "Well, they're only printing 100 of these shirts. I can't charge them $10,000 for this design. They're not going to make any money, right?" So you have to understand where the company's coming from, but then you also have to understand where your base model is. Like, say your base model is $500 for design.
Yep.
Well, you can't be like, "Hey, I know you don't have much money, so I'll do an exception and charge you $100 for that design," because now your base model is $100.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever found that out, well, then why are we paying $500 if you're willing to do it for $100, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to stick to a base model. So you almost have to like treat your design world like going into a restaurant where you're like, okay, if you want the hamburger, it's $2. If you want the hamburger and the meal, it's $5, and that's what it costs. Nobody's going into McDonald's and arguing the cost of a hamburger. That's just what it costs.
I'm sure there is, but
you get me though. You got.
No, I fully get you.
Yeah.
So this is the question I have on top of that. Let's say you have two graphics, right? Mm-hmm. You have one that's a simple lightning bolt design, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like a really clean design. And then you have one that's super detailed. Mm-hmm. How do you then... and they're for the same company.
Yeah. There's no different in price.
There's no different in price.
No.
So you just sort of...
So how I would differentiate the price is not by the detail level. Because the concept is really... A good concept is still worth the same amount as a good concept. You know what I mean? It's just because a design's simpler, it doesn't make it... the concept is what is of a value, right? And so, now, if somebody wants a 7-color design versus a 1-color design, now, that's where the price goes up. Because the concept part is here. But now you put the labor cost of adding 7 colors up to here, right? Okay. You get what I'm saying?
I see that. So let's say that it's this then. Let's say you're doing a whole smiley face concept through a whole set of boards. But the big crux of it is that you got one board that's got one smiley face in the center, and it's hand drawn, and then you have one that's got 1,000 smiley faces on here. Mm-hmm. Are you still running that same concept model where you're like, well...
They're both the same amount of colors?
Same amount of colors, but you have to hand draw each one of these 1,000...
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So, like, the time that's going into the actual, like, detail of...
No, see, I think that's where you gotta flex it. You know, like, that's... I mean, if you're spending, like, legitimately... way more hours on something, and that's where I was saying with the colors.
Okay, yeah,
because the colors are adding so much time, right?
Yep.
But like, I mean, it's really about the benchmark. You know what I mean? It's not dropping below your benchmark. So, like you saying, "Oh, hey, this smiley face is going to take me 30 minutes." Well, they don't know that. And there has to be some standard to what you charge because your time is worth something.
Yeah,
you know? And like for you to turn on a computer and sit down and like come up with the idea and like do this and that's a value, right? So that's worth $500. You know what I mean? Nothing less than that. You know, that's all I'm saying.
I definitely agree with the smiley face. It's just that then I guess if you're treating all that detail like you would...
Yeah, you go up from there, for sure.
Yeah, you go up from there. Okay.
But I was just... Yeah, and I guess I was wrong to say, like, no, they're the same value, because I was just saying they're the same minimum value.
Yep. Okay.
That's all I was saying. I was just trying to say, don't diminish the simple design. But you start the clock at, like...
It's so funny. We came in on that on different... ways, because I was thinking, like that's your base, then how do you value this one? And you're like, this is the value, I'm valuing that one higher, but don't diminish this one. Okay.
Right.
We were just approaching that from two different ways.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you want, you can grab your phone, but I'd love for you to just rattle off a whole bunch of things that you have worked with, because I think there's people that would be listening right now would be like, oh, who has he worked with? He's throwing a couple of names out there, but
are we talking brands or people?
Brands, people. I want to go away feeling flustered on how much who you've worked with.
Jesus God. There's so many, dude. There's so many.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so you want to start on skateboarding or snowboarding?
Okay, let's go. Snowboarding, skateboarding, and then brands and bands or whatever.
Okay. I think that's a good way of doing it. Actually, you're pretty smart on this because I kind of got into my career snowboarding first, right? That was kind of my entry, and then I got into more skating second, and then bands third. So you're doing it in the right order. So I already mentioned Yes Snowboards. They were kind of in there early on, and still doing art for them. So it's been 15 plus years with Yes Snowboards, and I'm doing Academy Snowboards, which is out of California and Lake Tahoe, and I'm doing Wired Snowboards now, which is out of Vancouver, and I'm doing 32 boots, snowboard boots, and Remind insoles. Let's see, I just did a goggle for Ashbury, but I've done Spy, Electric. I was on Electric for many, many years.
Oh my gosh.
Volcom as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was working with Volcom for probably about 7 years. That was kind of like a big transition in my career as well with Volcom. I did lots of stuff.
Oh, cool. I'd rock Volcom stuff, but back in the day, Volcom was like the hot shit for me.
Yeah, they had a moment for sure where they were just groundbreaking.
Yeah. In surfing and skateboarding, because that's the sort of where you've got snowboarding. I come from surfing sort of sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. What else? Snowboards. God, there's so many things that I'm doing constantly. I was a main illustrator for a bunch of snowboard magazines back in the day. Snowboard Mag, I was probably their main illustrator for 4 years.
Wow.
I've done art for like Bomb Snow magazine. I'm in the new Bomb Snow magazine that's out of Montana.
Oh, that's cool.
I was a art director for Snowboard Canada for a bit.
Are you doing this stuff while you've got a 40-hour job, or is this
before Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Like I said, I'm just a tweaker. I just I don't know what to tell you. So then I have my own signature snowboard bindings. They used to be on Now, but Now merged with Yes, so now they're Yes bindings.
Okay, cool.
I think that's the major stuff. I don't know. I've done art for like every pro, like everybody's, I did some art for Torstein and his music stuff. I did some, I've done everybody's pro model on Remind, so Travis Rice and stuff.
Oh, really? Travis Rice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I remember when I first moved here, because I knew nothing really about snowboarding, and we would go to when they would show his videos on the big screen, and people would take me to there, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, and he's doing double backflip 2 360s or something like that, which blows my mind. I don't know if that's
the king. He's timeless, man. He's still doing it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The question I had in the snowboard world, how do you go creating, because they're such big pieces? Are you doing them at large scale in big pieces hand drawn, or are you doing them digitally?
It's a really good question. I think I approach each design different depending on what I'm feeling to do for that design. I like to draw stuff full size just because you get more detail in there. I'm just looking down at the floor here. I've got my ink stuff in my bin. Let's see if I can see anything here. But what's this one? This is just a mountain range I did for Eagle Pass. Heli, and it's just I draw it in a section, and then I drew the things over top. But sometimes I do it that way and move it around on the computer.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll just do the whole drawing. Like here's little illustration I'm working on right now for Oakley and...
that's so sick.
Yeah. This bank slalom thing in Alaska. So,
That's so sick. So, do you have like a high-end scanner then that you bring in?
yeah, it's just 11 by 17 scanner, and I have to often splice things in sections, but
I find
that's fine.
so. I had a bigger scanner, but it was like one of the ones where it was higher end, but it was 11 by 17, and it was so painful trying to splice things together and get it like nice and flat. I don't know. It does my head in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old school, so I'm just used to doing things that way, you know,
Yep.
but like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, if I had like this nice huge flatbed scanner, that'd be amazing, but you just gotta make it work how you gotta make it work, you know.
So, with the big like pieces, once you're done, if it's hand drawn big pieces, are you having to scan it in to then send it to the client, or are you sending them the whole big piece done, or is it only in sections that you do it?
Like, because I'm a production artist, you
Yep.
know, I do everything from start to finish, so I'm scanning it, coloring it, laying it out, ready for press, like, and
wow.
I think that's kind of my claim to fame, is that, you know, some artists just don't have that pre-press ability, whereas I do. So I'll get like the templates from them and I'll set it up myself, ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, I even did some board graphics for like Prime and stuff. And
wow.
I did all the like they do all their stuff with squeegees and screen print them still. And I know how to do all that stuff, so I set up all the separations and the color seps ready to go, ready to burn the screens, you know. So, I mean, I know I'm pretty specialized in print, but I know all aspects of print, you know. I've been doing this for 20 years, you know, and back when I started, not to date myself, but we did stuff with like Rubylith and like...
Oh, yeah. That's how they used to do the old skateboards, right? Yeah,
exactly. And so I know how to do that aspect, even though that's kind of a dead art, you know, like, it's crazy when like some of those brands, you know, like they pay somebody to do those steps, you know, like they're like, oh, someone has to actually get paid to do that work, but I'll just do it for them. I'm like, there you go, ready to go, you know. And
that's nice of you.
Well, I mean, it's partly because it's my control factor too, right? Like I want things to turn out
the way you want it,
or the way I want them.
Yeah. So
I'm doing that, so the control is in my hands, and like I know that it's going to be done the way I want it to be done. You know, so it's not like being nice. It's just more of me getting things done the way I want it to be done.
Well, I'm sure on their side they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh yeah, they love it.
Yeah,
they love it. Yeah.
So in the skateboard world, what are some brands that you've worked for there? Like I know a few of them personally in my head, but like let's rattle some off.
Okay. Let's see. Let's start with H Street since I met Tony Magnuson. And Plan B. I got a graphic coming out with Plan B this Christmas.
Oh, that's crazy!
Yes.
The guy I had on is amateur. He's got the episode out now, Jeff Days. He's amateur for Plan B.
Oh, yeah. I got a Danny Way graphic coming out right away.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. First one with them. I did a whole line for Mystery Skateboards.
Awesome.
I did some artwork for Madrid Skateboards back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Who else? There's like... I gotta start like writing down the brands now. I think. Well, I mean, I've done a lot of work with Bones.
Oh yeah,
Wheels.
yeah. You've done a lot of the wheeled graphics, right, as well. Mm-hmm. That's so rad. Far out.
I've done some work for Santa Cruz. Did like the Mars Attack stuff for them.
That's really rad.
You know, I did a lot of work for the Barracks.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's right. With the Oh, what was that? I feel like I saw you post something with their like globe thing that they do.
No, I did a bunch of art for Steve back in the day, and they were just like, you know, just some graphics for social media. And they did like, you know, Steve and I are buds, and he did a whole piece on me, and I actually did Steve started a brand called Bright Skateboards, and I did a
Okay.
lot of the graphics for that as well. And,
That's so rad.
The Scapegoat graphic that I've
Oh, yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
That was sick, that one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we screen printed those at Prime, so those I did the color separations for that. Oh yeah, then I did like the Dune board, like Chris Pastris
Oh,
board
yeah,
with
yeah,
Prime.
yeah.
Yeah, and I did some stuff for stereo through that and stuff.
Yeah. Far out. Who haven't
There's
you
just
touched?
like so many like little ones that sometimes I forget because some of them are like ongoing. Like Bones would be like, okay, I did like 30 graphics for Bones or whatever, you know. But then there's ones like, oh, the Chris Pastors board. I did one board for that, you know, or the Chris Markovich or whatever, you know. So it's kind of hard to remember all of them because sometimes there's like a client that I'm doing constant work for, and sometimes it's just a one-off, you know.
Yeah. Has there ever been a piece of art that you have? Obviously, you've done so much work, but has there ever been one where you're like, I got to do it for this person, like Gons or that, and you're like, I can't.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk.
What graphic did you do for Tony Hawk?
His Bones wheel, with the hawk on the corner of the wheel and stuff. Yeah.
That's.
I mean, that's kind of.
That's
a big
legendary.
deal. My dad even knows who Tony Hawk is. You
Yeah.
know? Like I was like, Dad, I did Tony Hawk's wheel. He's like, cool. I know who that guy is. He's 78 years old. I know who Tony Hawk is.
God, that is crazy. When when that first came about, were you like, yeah, I would like, is there any? Okay, sorry. This is hear the fanboy in me, like just like getting so excited. Obviously that's amazing when that happens. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this thing for Tony Hawk. Is there anywhere where you would lower your scale of pay and be like, I just want to work with that person because I want to check that on the life list? Or have you just done so much where you're like,
See, the thing is, I don't have to think about that because because it's like, you know, working for Bones, and my buddy Matt French is doing a lot of the graphics right now, and he's great. Like for a while it was just me, and then it was Matt and myself, and then I got super busy, and so like I always tell Rob at Bones I'm the backup goalie at Bones right now, and that's cool because Matt needs the day-to-day, and I just have so much on the going on. I just need a graphic here and there, right? But the thing is with Bones, like there's like it's not like, oh hey, I would do that for free. It's like this is just what they pay you per wheel graphic. So there's no even discussion. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, okay, we got a new wheel we need done. It's Tony Hawk, and you just go and then you just get paid. It's like, you know, it's not there's no like. There's no discussion of payment because it's the same for every wheel. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess like when you're doing Tony Hawk's wheel versus when you're doing someone else that's on Bones, are you like got the little butterflies? Like I can't believe I'm doing this, and it's Tony Hawk?
Yeah. I mean, like I was so pumped on like I think, you know, that run I had like 9 wheels to do, and I drew the Tony Hawk one first. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this one first.
Yeah, that's rad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a professional, but I mean, it's still, like I said, like, you know, I'm doing this for a reason because I'm also a fan of what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just, sometimes when I think you've been in the world for as long as you have doing it, from an outside perspective, I'm like, the butterflies, I'm like, oh, God, like I get it every once in a while. Like I've done, like an illustration, it got on the 9 Club, and I was like over the moon. And I've had a couple of small interactions with people in the skate industry that are like, I never knew would know my name. And I'm like, I go and tell my wife, like, I'm like, I can't believe this just happened.
It's really easy to get desensitized.
Really that's what so that's what I was wondering.
It is. And I do, for the most part, get quite desensitized where my friends are like more hyped about things than I am, but like there is, like you said, pivotal things like the Tony Hawk, like the Metallica that like are like at a level that you are like now like in a new level, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like, of course you're gonna get excited about that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, you'd be a psychopath not to. You know what I mean?
Okay, rattle off a few of the bands that you've done, and let's jump into some other
This will be a shorter list, so this one's easy.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, because I'm doing so much that I can't like just do art for everybody, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so music is my passion, but like I just only want to do the things that I'm like super passionate about with music because I don't have time to do all the little bands or whatever, right? So, In Flames is a Swedish metal band, and probably the was my intro into the music world because I've been working with Anders and the band for 2004. What year is it? 2000. Let's just say 15 years. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, yeah.
And so I was kind of like reached out to them because I love their music, and then they put me in the driver's seat, and we were like, the singer like emailed me back and was like, "You're in," you know. And so that was my first taste of doing art for the music world. This is massive Swedish band that has millions of followers, and like I didn't like start at like ground zero. I just got into upper level right up from the start. So I own a clothing company with the singer as well, and it's called Clayman, and so I toured with In Flames back in 2017 in Europe, and I like live painted on stage and did all that fun stuff. So the thing is this. Is I was very, very, very lucky that Anders believed in what I was doing in the skate and snowboard world and allowed me in, because as a portfolio piece, I already had a really good one. Do you know what I mean? Like you may not know who In Flames is, but if you do, you're a fan. And it was an easy starting point. So then, I started doing art for a couple hip-hop groups. I'm doing some stuff right now for Souls of Mischief, and I'm doing some stuff for Farside.
Oh, wow.
I did some work for Adele and A+ back in the day. And so I'm actually working on some new stuff for them right now. They were messaging me last night about these new designs I'm working on. And then Metallica. Yeah. And then I actually am working on album art for my buddy's band. He's like the one I kind of let in the door because they're good friends.
Yeah, but it's like a mate. It's hard to like. I feel you.
Yeah, so I'm working on the new Woodhawk album too, but they're a local Calgary band and they're really good friends to the point where like when I was like selling my Clayman merch at a In Flames thing, like they helped me to sell it and volunteered to sell it for me, and so like what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're good dudes. So it's like Metallica and Woodhawk, you know what I mean?
Far out. That is. You just got like a wild list of just brands and names that it just blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm just living through the things that I want to do. I'm just living in my own dream. I'm not living in somebody else's dream. It's just like I like '90s hip hop and I like metal and like that's what I want to do. Like I'm not focusing on some famous country singer or whatever because they're famous. I'm just doing whatever I am passionate about.
I feel the same way with my like cartoony style. I'm like, in the worlds that I sort of play in, people are like, it's cartoony. But I've reached out to like illustration agents, and they're like, that style's not in at the moment. So like, I could try and change my style and go watercolory and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, that's just not me. I can't do it. I don't enjoy that. So I am in the same sort of boat, not without the extreme success.
You know what's weird is, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But I missed a huge chunk of what I do too. The shoe industry. I do so much in the shoe world. Why did I?
That's right. Yeah.
Like, wait a second. Hold on a second. I do like Soltex, so I do Etnies S. and like we mentioned, 32 snowboard boots.
Yeah.
And I do all their stuff, and I also do all the artwork for Fallen shoes.
That is insane.
As I'm wearing my Fallen shirt right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. So, all these brands, do they just send you a bunch of stuff? Like, do you just have mad amounts of shoes and shirts and all that stuff at your house?
Yes.
Oh, God. I'm so jealous. So jealous.
I mean, yeah, I don't get greedy with it. I just, actually, I think, I never abuse that. I just take what I need and not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the kind of guy that's like, oh, I need, like, 5 pairs of shoes. I'm usually like, I just need 2 pairs of shoes, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not abusing the power, so to speak.
Question, what's your favorite shoe that you skate in?
You trying to get me fired here?
Oh, okay, sorry. No. Oh, I thought you were going to say one of the brands. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, no. I just mean, like, I do, like, 2 different companies for shoes, you know? I actually get shoes from both Soltech and Fallen, so I think I can safely say I skate in... What am I skating in right now? The Chris Cole Rippers for Fallen.
Okay.
And I'm skating just the basic Excels for S right now.
I do love the Excels. I found that now I've got older because of the cup sole. Is that what they have in S's?
Yes. Yeah, cup sole.
Yeah, it's too hard on my feet. Like, I just get... So I can't... I have to get super squishy insoles.
Well, I do art for Remind insoles, so we'll hook you up.
Thanks. That'd be awesome. But let's jump into some other questions, okay?
Sure.
There's a part of me where I'm like frothing and I'm trying to like pull it back in here, Mark. We're only 2 questions in. Which fictional character is your favorite?
Like in a story or in like a movie?
Yeah.
Anything?
Anything.
Favorite? Man, that's a tough one.
Do you know what? I can't answer any of these questions because it depends on the mood. Like, I could say Donatello, like, would be my favorite Ninja Turtle. But I love Calvin and Hobbes. But then I love John Wick in the first movie. You get what I mean? I could go anywhere.
You know, like, whatever I'm going to answer right now is going to be regretful later. But I think, like, I'm really into movies, personally.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of my actual personal ideas for art is based roughly off of movies. And, like, I take a lot from, like, tone and, like, colors. Like, I really like, you know, like, if you look at a Ryan Gosling movie and, like, Dune and, like, you know, the sci-fi stuff I'm really into.
Yep.
What's another one? Blade Runner, all that stuff. And the colors they use, the pinks and the purples and all that stuff. I like the vibes of that, and I like the fantasy. Like, naturally, I wanted to say Labyrinth is, like, one of my all-time favorite movies. Something about, like, David Bowie and like, the whole thing. You know, I like that a lot. You know, I like movies that are like Gleaming the Cube and like,
oh god,
you know, it's just the era that you know, I was born in '77 and I grew up in the '80s and '90s, so I pull from that a lot of the time, where it's like my childhood and the things that I grew up with. So like what's a Nim movie, Secret of Nim with the rats and like, you know, like the Muppets and all that weird shit like that.
Fraggle Rock?
Fraggle Rock?
Fraggle Rock was better than the Muppets in my mind when I was a kid. I loved the
Lucky
secret
for
world.
you, it's coming back.
It's coming back?
My buddy's working in the film industry and they're working on Fraggle Rock reboot right now.
Wow, I wonder how it's going to go. I feel like a lot of those things just don't translate to the like...
They don't age well?
Don't translate to the quick entertainment people want. I think like Bluey. Have you seen any of the Bluey stuff?
No, my son never got into that one, luckily enough.
Oh, actually, it's when I think
you like it.
because if you ever get a chance, watch it, because it's, me and my wife would laugh and be like, oh my gosh, they're writing for us, and the kids watching it, and they're like, they're writing for the kids. It was like this perfect Venn diagram of like, and it's like 7-minute episodes, and I think that's like how they pick up so much. Anyway, the writing's fantastic, but
Okay.
I thought that was good. All right, what do you do for fun outside of all your amazing artwork?
Skateboard.
Skateboard? All right, what are you skating, like 80s style skating, or are you carving? Like how your knees and ankles holding up?
I'm 47, but I'm still ripping out there. I mean, like I try and stay in shape so that I can. I mean,
yeah.
Did
you? What type? Like, were you in the street skateboarding? Like when you were like, I feel like my ankles and my knees are like just so sore. Mind you, I would say sitting at a desk and not skating that much for like 5 to 10 years, because I was like, that ruined me, because I never thought of working out.
Yeah, I'm kind of a street skater. I'm good at like doing flip tricks. So...
Oh god, my ankle hates them now. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just kind of what I grew up with. I mean, I'm slowly getting into like mini ramps and bowls and stuff like that, because it's fun. It's all fun, you know. And there's so many better parks these days now that in our area that I can.
It is crazy the level of skate parks that are out now than when I go to parks and I'm like, why couldn't you be here like 15 years ago? I would have been all over this, as like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, I think it's like, you know, there's parks everywhere now, and like skateboarding is about, you know, you're good if you're out there every day. I mean, I'm trying to be out there every day, kind of. Yeah. I just like skated all along the weekend this last weekend, and I actually kind of not rolled my ankle, but I like, you know, you get folded foot, you land on the side of your foot like that. So I've been icing my foot all week so I can go skate this weekend. So we'll see.
I have a glass ankle, like where I can, because of skateboarding and like a car accident I was in, I can walk along and then sometimes there'll be like just a slight little pebble, and I'll just go boom. Oh, we're over. We're done. Like we can't do anything. So it's gotten better, like because I've been somewhat working out the last couple of months.
Got some coffee grounds on that sip. That's why my face is turning upside down here.
But it's awesome to see. Like, don't you feel when we were younger, you would, and obviously skateboarding is such a young like activity or lifestyle or whatever, sport or whatever you want to call it, that when you looked up to older skaters, there was no older skaters, so you thought you were going to be done. You know what I mean? And I was always like, oh, I'm going to keep skateboarding. Life gets in the way, whatever, kids, full-time work, schooling. And then you're like, I'm like, go to a skate park now, and I'm like, oh, there's another person my age that's doing it. Like
Oh, yeah. There's so many people that like are coming back to it now as adults because their kids are getting into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, here's the thing. Don't stop, because you're going to come back to it, because you're going to have a kid that's like, oh, Dad, I want to skateboard. And you're like, oh, I used to skateboard. And you're like, oh, crap, now I got to figure out how to do this again. Just don't stop. You know, it's the same thing as like, my buddy was telling me that about golfing. Like, don't stop golfing, because you're going to get old and you're going to get retired and you're going to like pick up golfing, but you're going to already have like, you're already going to be playing it, so you're not going to suck. You know what I mean?
Has pickleball been...
Oh, God.
That's
everywhere.
Me, unfortunately.
It's
that's
everywhere.
Me.
It's everywhere. I haven't played it, so I have no like actual opinion about it. But it's just like popping up, like pickleball.
Oh yeah. So I say this in every podcast, but I treat pickleball like I do skateboarding. So I do a lot of spin shots.
Okay.
But I treat like it triggers. I can feel it trigger the same thing in my brain if I got like a 360 flip.
Okay.
Like I got my first 360 flip in like 2 years the other day when I was skating, but it was off this like really steep bank. I was like, "Oh, try this one." Anyway, and my brain went, "Oh, that was you got it." Like, yeah, mind you, with the judgment in my brain is like, "That's not how you used to get it," but
right. But you got it.
Yeah. So then I go, like I go when I go to pickleball and I do a spin shot that goes around, so my brain goes, oh, like the same sort of like triggers my brain, and I love it. So that's how I play pickleball. Like I always want these like trick spin or deceiving shots, and it's how it's like playing like skateboarding, like trying to figure out that shot. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to figure out this shot for the next like 2 weeks kind of thing while I'm playing when the opportunity comes up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually want to try pickleball. I just haven't. I mean, like we already talked about how much.
I was going to say, I don't know how you're squeezing that in. Mate.
Yeah, exactly. My time is already pretty much spoken for.
Yeah, I honestly, where I'm at, there's not many skaters around. I'm in very suburbs, and like that was the hard thing about going skateboarding. The skate park that's right near my house is really bad, but I'd still skate it. I'd still get in there, and then there's a couple around. But trying to get it in after work was really like, oh, hey, I got the kids. I got to go skate. No, okay, now I'm going to go skate, and it's like freezing cold outside. Now it takes me an hour to warm up. I get half an hour good skating, and then I'm like done, kind of thing.
I think that's a lot of it too. Is I'm trying to skate every day because winter's coming here. It's it's already fall. And it's the leaves are falling. There's not too many days of skating left. So.
So you don't go indoors?
Not as often because it's a little farther away from me. The indoor parks aren't really close to me at all. Like they're in they're a 30-minute drive. Calgary's a big city.
Yeah. We have one here, but it's really small. So as soon as you get like 10 people in there, it's packed. And so you're like, it's packed and it's super loud, like as all indoor parks are. But because it's so small, the echo chamber, you can't even hear yourself think. Like when you're doing that. Maybe I'm just getting old. That's like the oldest skater thing to say, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, they're usually busy with little kids, and they're doing lessons at those indoor parks and stuff.
I was stoked. I took my daughter the other day. She dropped in for the very first time by herself, and I was just so over the moon. I was like, part of me is like, both of my kids can drop in. My son can skate around and, like, keep his own a little bit, and I was like, job's done. I can leave now. You guys can both drop in. You're good.
My son's just getting into it more this year. Like he was kind of into it last year, but this year I brought him to the skate parks more, and he's so funny about it because he's kind of fearless. He said, he just turned 7, and I'll just drop into the bowl or whatever, and he'll drop in on those things on his butt on the board, and he like dropped into the cradle, which was crazy, and he dropped into this steep bank. And, like, when I go across the flat bar, he's hilarious about it. He'll run behind, like, he'll push, but then, like, if he wants to do a feature, he'll go on his butt, right? So he sat on his board on the flat bar rail and, like, pushed himself across and sitting, like, grinding it, like, you know what I mean?
Trying to be like that.
It's really funny.
That's awesome. What do you say to lift yourself up? Like, whether it's a skate trick, whether it's like, oh man, I've got a lot of work to do. How do you push those sort of boundaries?
That's a good question. I'm my own hardest critic on all aspects of life.
You and me
pretty
both.
much. I'm pretty hard on myself, and it's sometimes it can be. It's hard to like just keep feeling like you're like good at something when you're constantly looking around and seeing people that are better than you, like it's like you're going, like I'm going across a flat bar and doing a board slide or a feeble grind, and then you got some kid like flipping in, crook grinding and flipping out, and you're just like, they're like half your age, and you're like, oh shit, and it's and that's life, like it's the same with drawing, like like, oh you do this art for Metallica, and you're like, I'm the best, and then you see this other Metallica artwork that's out there, and it's like twice as more detailed and more dialed in, and you're like, shit, I suck, but you can't.
Everything you say right now is like, I'm speaking
we're all the
to
same.
my heart. Yeah,
we're all the same. And to be honest with you, I think that's what makes you good, because if you honestly felt that you were the top of your game and you were the best, you wouldn't be progressing, and you wouldn't actually be pushing yourself to do better, and you wouldn't be getting better. So I think if you were like, oh, I'm the best, that's probably the worst, because you're not, what I mean, you're the top of your game. That's as good as you're going to be,
So I think about this, and so I remember there was an interview with one of the Marvel comic book artists, and he was like, no artist should ever like their artwork.
No.
But the process of the artwork is actually, to me, the most fun part than the actual, like, putting it out there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be and this is sort of more me getting, I think, more mature, even though it's like 43. Like, you think I'd be mature enough by now.
Mm-hmm.
But finding that happiness and growth at the same time, and I think skateboarding gives us that, right? Like, so you get that trick, and you're like, oh, I learn a new skill. I still need to work at that, but I learn a new skill. I can get that cleaner, I can do that, but now that's in my tool set. With art, sometimes it feels like I created a piece. Now, does that piece, it's almost like does a tree fall in the woods? Because I've created that piece, now what do I do with that? Like, okay, it's just sitting over there. Now, there's this part of me that goes, I need to show someone. I need to, like, and there's that validation that needs to happen via someone else. So you've got to love your artwork a little bit to be able to show it, but then also you want to grow. So that's something that I've struggled with, trying to find that happy sort of medium. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the mind of an artist, you know, like we're our own enemies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I don't know what to say really, because it's like, you know, you constantly have to. I think it's nice if you also have somebody that you can trust to show your art to, that will give you honest opinions about your art, that'll be like, you can do better, or you're almost there. Because sometimes, like, you know, you can only psychoanalyze your own art so much, and you just, like, you can't see it anymore, where you're like, I don't know if I like this or don't like this, or like if I'm going the right direction.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to be able to have somebody that you trust that will be honest, but like fair with your own art. I think that helps. Yeah. You know, like, yeah, I don't know, because I mean, I'd like to give you a better answer here, but I think we all battle with this.
I think that's a part of this podcast, I think, is like letting other people see that people that are as successful as you are still have certain struggles. And I think some people think there's this magic time when those struggles go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a good point.
So I think that sometimes it's just nice for people to go, oh, yeah, okay. I don't have to feel so out of place with where I'm at creatively or business-wise or whatever it is, because everyone's still sort of figuring it out, like in different ways, like for different subjects as well, not just this.
I think for me personally, you know, for me it's always like you said, like a balance of time too. And it's like, you know, at this point in my career, I don't want to put out crap. You know, I don't want somebody to look at what I put out and be like, oh, he usually does much better than that, or like, it looks like he just like slapped that together or whatever, you know. I want people to always be like, ooh, he really nailed it out of the park, you know. And it's so sometimes you have to say no to things because you know that it's not going to be up to your standard, because, like, you know, sometimes you get stuff that's like, oh, hey, we really want you involved on this, but we need it like in 2 days, and you're like, well, I'm pretty busy and I don't think I can do my best in 2 days. So you actually have to say no, because you don't want to just put something out there that it isn't up to your standards. You know what I mean? Because that can hurt you just as bad. Yeah. You know, and it's like, so sometimes saying no is just as important as saying yes. Yep,
that's a really good point. What is a kind act someone has done for you that sticks with you?
Kind act?
Yeah.
Like in general, or like art based, or
in general, like anything that you've done, someone has done for you that sort of sticks with you. So, for me personally, there was a family that really helped me out when I was going through some tough times, and I've had that actually a couple of times through my life with different families.
Mm-hmm.
The Hillers, if they ever listen to this, they help me out. The Lays, just these acts of like letting me stay at their home or giving me some sort of guidance, offering me a job when I needed one, or stuff like that. Or just even like picking me up and dropping me off in a car or something.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of really good friends that are constantly helping me, and like I've gone through a lot of life changes personally this last year, and there's a lot of people that were really there for me.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
like, I think I'm kind of like a person that doesn't really. I keep a lot of my personal life to myself. So, like I just don't want like every stranger that I don't know knowing every little bit of detail about myself. So I'm going to like take your question and make it about somebody else rather than me personally.
Yeah.
I want to actually bring it back to Tony Hawk again, because I think this is worth mentioning.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know me that great. I just did a graphic for him or two, and Rob of Bones is the guy in charge of Bones there. And I told him about this kid that was had terminal cancer, and he loves skateboarding. He lives close by here. Like, I don't know him personally, but I was reached out to by a bunch of people asking if I could help him because he wanted to do some skate decks and this and that before he passed, and he wanted to do something in a skate world. And so I was really busy, and they kind of hit me at a bad time. And I said, like, look, I don't have the ability to draw him this deck, but this is kind of a big deal. I do have the ability to use my channels to get him something, So I reached out to Rob, who reached out to Tony Hawk, and Tony Hawk contacted this kid personally and FaceTimed him. And invite him to his house. Obviously, he couldn't go because he's in a wheelchair and this and that. But Tony Hawk sent this kid signed skateboards. It had a one-on-one like this kind of meeting with him and this and that. And then I gave him the ink work for the Tony Hawk wheel that I did. And so what I'm trying to say here is Tony Hawk took time out of his busy schedule and busy day for a kid he doesn't know that he knew had terminal cancer and did this for him, and I thought that was kind of a big credit to Tony. That's
big credit to you as well for I'm sure that there's a few people that ask stuff at lower scales. Hey, could you get my sponsor me tape over to these people once they figure it out?
I get that one a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So but reaching out and doing that and making it work, that's a credit to both you guys. But also, I can see what you're saying with Tony Hawk being who he is.
Totally.
Like, I'm sure he gets requests like that non-stop all day.
Yeah, and it wasn't for any publicity. That didn't go anywhere besides my memory and that kid's, and unfortunately, Ty passed away. So it wasn't like one of those things where,
I bet you for his family, though, that's so impactful.
Yes. Yeah. It was a big deal.
Yeah. They get to live with that happy memory of that child.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Who is someone that you would like to meet that is alive?
Rodney Mullen.
Oh, good one. Yeah, I'd love to meet Rodney Mullen. Have you done
for many reasons, not for like the things that you would think. I just think he's a very interesting person. Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember, there's a 411 back in the day and a day in the life, and he like goes to the library and like would read like math books or something like that. And I was like, man, he's just outside of what we do in the skate world. You know what I mean? Like,
I love playing chess too. I'd like to play a game of chess with Rodney Mullen.
Oh, I love chess.
That'd be cool.
I just designed my own little chess characters with my character I have, Mr. Boxbrain. I love it. I play nearly every day with my father-in-law over our phone, and I lose every single day, but I love playing it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm shit, but that'd be fun. Imagine sitting that, and didn't he have that old board that had chess pieces on it?
Yeah, I've got that one.
Oh, you do?
Don't
Tell me you designed it.
Oh, no, that's
Okay.
VCJ.
Yeah, okay.
He did all the old PAL graphics.
That's right.
That would be way before my time. I mean, I've only been in the design world for, 18, 20 years or something.
Only 18, 20 years, but
Yeah, but that was like that was an 80s board.
Oh, yeah. I think that was before my time, so that way it's like a bit blurry on when stuff come out. When's the last time you rode a bike?
I have a bike. My buddy that owns Bike and Brew built me one just to get around the city. I'm more of like, I'm on a skateboard more than I'm on a bike, but I do like it.
Yeah.
Here and there.
I would, if I had a adult size BMX bike that had, because I don't know how Calgary is, but it's really hilly around here. Mm-hmm. But I'd love one with just a little small motor that could like just help me up like a little electric one.
So
but
an electric BMX bike.
Yeah. So I could go do jumps and stuff still, but then like I could be like, all right, I've got to go back up all these hills because it's just.
It sounds like you're the dude crashing on the e-scooter. That sounds like you're like right next door to those guys.
Maybe, but I'd be happy with the crash. I've got an electric bike and I've crashed that thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about the crash. I'm worried about more like that I could go do jumps around in our little bushes and stuff around here.
You live dangerously, my friend.
We're skateboarders. We're gonna have that sort of in us. Mm-hmm. Last two questions, and then you're out of here, and you can get along with your day. Mm-hmm. What are 3 things that you were grateful for?
I'm grateful for my child, number one. Every day I think about him and what he's doing, and he's number one in my life for sure. I'm grateful for my dogs. They are sleeping under my feet as we speak.
What type of dogs do you have?
I've got 2 miniature long-haired wiener dogs. One is 7 and one is 16.
My sister-in-law had that, and it was the cheekiest little bugger. It would like get into all sorts of stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, these guys are pretty dope. They're just chilling. They're sleeping together down the lane.
Yeah, that's so fun. I have 2 dogs, and when they cuddle together, like every time, my wife will be like, "Oh, look at those guys! Look they're so cute." One's a black staffy, and one's a little white Bichon Maltese. Mm-hmm. Nice. So the yin and the yang.
I love dogs. I'm a dog guy.
Me too.
I take them to the dog park later.
I have this theory, like, and I'm sure a lot of people do. If you don't like dogs, I can't really trust you.
Mm-hmm. Right,
and,
I get what you're saying.
Like, there's just a thing where these animals don't want any harm. Mm-hmm. They just. I mean,
there's something to be said about a cultural thing. When I was in Indonesia, they don't really treat dogs the same there because dogs are wild and kind of not trustworthy. So I think in North America, dogs are just different here than they are there.
I will say that is a very Western culture thing because I've been to Indonesia as well and a couple other places, and but I still find that when I was there, there would be people that looked after the dogs around the area. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it's just an affordance thing for the most part. Like, oh, that's another thing I got to sort of look after.
Right.
But there was still people around there that would put bowl or water would be out for the dogs or like that. So, but anyway, I know it's not a real thing because my father-in-law could do without ever patting a dog again in his life, and I find that guy amazing. So. Okay, there's always exceptions to the rule. What's your third thing?
Third thing, yeah. Oh, Jesus. 3 wishes.
Wish for more wishes?
What's the third one? Yeah, more wishes. I don't know. I think I'm thankful for, friends and family. I mean, I don't even want to make it about, having an art career or any of that stuff. I want to, friends and family is pretty important. Yep. And it's like you really, like I said, I went through a lot of changes this last year, and you could really see who your friends are, and your family stepping up and this and that, and so, I think that's my answer.
That's awesome. Well, for what you've been through in the last year, the little piece that we have heard here, finding out and sort of filtering through who steps up and who's not, and you're kind of like, oh wow, I didn't think you would, or you went above and beyond. I've had stuff like that happen in my life, not in the same world of what you're going through, but it makes you go, like I feel like I carry a bit of weight with that wherever I go, in a sense of like, how can I repay that back in any way? That's how I rock with that.
Yeah, there's, as humans, we need each other, you know, to, like, no person, like, as much as people act like we don't need anybody, we do, because, like, if you think about any sort of animal in the wild or that sort of thing, like, there's very few animals that coexist on their own. Like, I mean, a wolf still has a pack, and the wolf can go off and do its own thing, but it still has a wolf pack for a reason. Ants rely on each other to survive, and you get what I'm trying to say. And yeah. As a species, I think humans are a weird one because, how many humans out there like kind of hate other humans, where they're like, oh, I just can't stand other people. It's like road rage, and this person cut me off.
Oh yeah.
Screw that guy. Give that person a finger. You don't know that person.
Yeah.
Don't know what they're going through. Like, they might have had a bad day, and it's like we're sort of self-loathing as a species, and it's like, it's if you were an alien coming down to the world for the first time and looking as a species as a whole, we are pretty weird and messed up if you think about it. Like, how
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, if you divide up. I mean, we're dividing up property, and this is mine, this is my country, this is your country, you stay over there, and it's like, it's not really how a species should function. As
no.
If you look at nature and how nature's designed, ants don't. I mean, there's animals that are territorial for sure, but for the most part, they all have the same goal and are working together. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes we need to remind ourselves that, and I think that when things fall apart for people, and then people step up, you're reminded that we do need people. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh, sometimes I just when I've heard something bad on the news, or I'm having a shit day, or I've had bad interaction with someone, and mind you, I say that like I am not a perfect human being of any sorts. I sit in I've got an angry little skateboarder inside me that would definitely likes to come out when someone does something wrong. Is rude to someone else or something. I'll bark up in any chance I get. Unfortunately, it's not something I love about myself. But stuff that happens in the world, having a shit day, or the world's done something shit, I will go on YouTube and I'll just look up kind acts of humanity, and I'll just watch that, to reset, because that stuff there makes. Oh, there we go. Oh, you are furry.
Sorry, he was kind of wanted to come up.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll take any dog. That's super cute. What's his name?
This is Jasper. Penny's still down there sleeping.
But I sometimes do that just so that I can reset myself of going no, you know what? Most people are just good humans that are just trying to get through their day. There's a small percentage that are just sort of fuck it up for the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, they do exist, but I would say you have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah, I agree. All right, last question. Then you can have your day back. You can lay down and cuddle with those dogs straight away.
Oh, I got more work to do, my friend.
I imagine so. You have to wear a shirt with a slogan on it for a year. What does it say?
For a year. You know what's so funny is I know I could probably think of all of these no problem if this was not right now.
Yeah.
Man, I got nothing. I'm thinking
that would be pretty funny.
I was gonna be I'm here for the beer, but I don't even drink anymore, so that can't be bad.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore either.
Yeah.
I don't it's not that I'm against it. I would have a beer, a drink at any time, but it's just the hangovers are just too bad.
It'd just be my phone number.
Your phone
Call
number?
Me. Call me.
Call me.
Yeah.
What's that brand? Not call 917 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That brand's sick. Well, Mark, thanks so much. I'm glad we got to make this happen. I'm ever so fucking nervous to do this illustration. I'm telling you now.
Oh, why?
Because just, other artists are artists. I know that we've got like very different styles.
Oh man, that's all good. I love it. I'm sure you're gonna nail it.
I'm very, very nervous, but I'm very, very excited.
We should get Jim Gray to make some stickers of it.
What's that?
Jim Gray will make some stickers of it for us, probably.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. He made my koala ones. I don't know if you saw those ones.
No, I didn't. What I'll do is, have you got a site with all your work on it?
Actually, I don't.
Oh, really?
I mean, I used to, but then I got so busy that I didn't really.
It's so hard to maintain, like, of popping all that stuff up, especially with the amount of different stuff that you do as well.
Yeah, I just have my Instagram. Which
Okay.
Is, Mark_Kowalchuk.
Yep, I'll link people to that in there, and then when I'm
Cool.
posting this stuff in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I took the website down. I was like, I really don't need one.
Yeah, you don't have to pay.
I can't have time for anything else. So
yeah, I fully agree with that. I understand that for sure. All right, thanks so much. I'm so stoked there. The insight into the art world and the skate stuff and side of things, I think, is really amazing for people to hear. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, I'm excited to the drawing. I hope you have a great day and get some more work done.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, buddy.
No worries.